Oh, shoot. Hey guys, welcome back. TJ McCormack, world's greatest roofer, community manager for Roofer, and the presenter for Rise, a Roofer Roadshow coming to Fort Lauderdale and Houston in a couple of weeks. I got Corey Combes here from South Shore Roofing. It's somebody that I've wanted to talk to for a long time. I've heard so many great things about you from many industry folks, and I'm really excited to have you, Corey. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, TJ. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We'll just jump right into it. We're gonna have Rise, a Roofer Roadshow, come into Fort Lauderdale on May the 16th. Is it May 16th or May 17th? I'm sorry. I'll make sure Clarissa tells me here in the notes. But no,
17th.
you're 17th. Yeah, you're gonna be one of the headline speakers at that event, and did some really good vetting of the people that we were choosing to be a part of our event, and I couldn't ask for somebody better than you on our first time or our first show. So thanks for that. But tell us a little bit about you, man. What's your company's name? What's your role? What's your company like?
Yeah, so my company is South Shore Roofing and Exteriors. We do primarily we do roofing, but we also do some siding, windows. I would say those would be our three primary, and then we do some decks, balconies, stuff like that. So pretty much anything that has to do with the exterior of the home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been in the business for going on 26 years, and started in Florida as an installer, and have just been, working in the industry in one way or another since then. And so my company's been modeled after the experiences that I've had, and I've had a really good, the last, I would say, 15 years of my career working for other people. I had some really, really, really good people that I was learning from, and I learned a lot of what to do and how to run a professional organization. And then I also learned some of the things that I didn't want to do, some of the things that bothered me about those companies, even though they were good companies. And so I tried to model my company after what I thought to be probably the best all around practices for everybody involved.
The creme de la creme, huh? Yeah. So I know, so I've learned something about you over the past few weeks that maybe not a lot of people know, but you don't do any insurance sales or insurance work in Florida, especially in that Southwest or Tampa market, which is really is different, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my entire career never did insurance. I mean, we that wasn't really a thing. We did some stuff, but the whole claims phenomenon, the whole industry going that, a relatively recent thing. So my background's always been in the retail side. I've never, we've always worked directly with others. And quite frankly, when I started my company, I did start out door knocking. I went out and I did a bunch of door knocking, and I found some neighborhoods that were being serviced by other roofing companies that did insurance, but I figured out really quickly that I didn't want to go that route.
Yeah.
I had, this was before all the laws were passed, and all the things that were making it more complicated out. It was a tougher it was just a tougher process for me.
Yeah.
So I, went with what I knew, which was retail.
Does it make it easier for you for the sales process?
Yeah.
For your sales team, how
Yeah.
are you educating them differently than a storm chaser like myself?
hmm Well, we talk a lot about building value. So we talk a lot about, bringing value up here and bringing price down here. And so that's a two-pronged question, because you can have all the sales, you can have all the sales training and techniques and be a great closer,
Yep.
right? You can do all that, and all that's very important. But the second piece of that is if you don't have the support and the production behind those closers, you're going to run into a bunch of problems, and you're going to
Yeah.
run into a bunch of unhappy customers, and you're going to run into a bunch of unhappy salespeople, because they're going to have pissed off customers calling them all the time.
Yeah.
So not only do we teach our sales guys how to be closers, we have a great sales process, and I'll tell you how I learned about sales here in a second. But we also really do a lot of training on our production side to keep our site project managers really well trained, and just the back end production running smoothly. Which, I had some issues. I had to fire my old project manager. We had some issues, but we're kind of working through that stuff. So the short answer to the question is, I train my guys that we have to all support one another to
Yeah.
have a customer that has a great experience all the way through the process, and that's what we train on.
Nice. It's very important this day. Well, I'm preaching to the choir, man. Especially with dealing with clients that are different or more difficult these days. They expect different things, but at the end of the day, they just expect you to do what you say you're going to do, right, and do it well.
Mm.
So,
Yep.
what kind of marketing are you guys doing in your market? That are you doing much organic on social media? Where's your marketing coming from?
My perspective on this is, you better have a if you're going to be in retail, you better have a holistic marketing plan.
Yeah.
And that means, holistic means you better cover everything that you can possibly cover. So we do digital, we do social's probably the one that I've neglected the most,
Right.
to be honest with you. So we do a lot of digital, which has been good. We do canvassing, and then we do a lot of referral stuff. So I started out with, I figured out how to get in front of the people that can refer us, and get, everybody talks about doing things like BNI and all that for referrals, but I figured out early on how to go to the source, right? So if you have a realtor and you have an insurance agent in a BNI group that sends you business, well, why not get in front of a bunch of realtors and a bunch of insurance agents instead of just one or two in your BNI group?
Right.
So we do that. We hit that really hard, and then we hit the retail canvassing really hard, and we hit our job site branding really hard. So those are, in the digital, we do really well with that as also. So those are the four main channels that we hit. But this year, I'm really working on going really hard on the social, because that's probably where we have the most room.
I think that I'm going to talk to Richie, and he's going to send me down, and you're going to hire somebody, and I'm going to train him for you for free. Do your social for you. But no, I love the social media. Of course, everybody watching probably knows that. But no, it's something that I'm really taking a deeper dive into this year, is how to help more roofers with their marketing from the top to the bottom. I know Michael Stearns is somebody that you're close friends with. And he does an amazing job at the digital world, the social footprint that we're all having right now out here, or the short form videos that are going onto our websites for that longer stay at the website is what everybody's after. But yeah, are you finding it hard to make sales right now, or are sales just coming naturally and easy?
We're doing good. What's interesting is, everybody asks me, I have three guys down in Southwest Florida where Hurricane Ian hit. And everybody thinks that we're going to be doing a lot more volume there, but our guys up in Tampa are really carrying the load in terms of what we're doing revenue monthly. It's been much more up in the Tampa area than it has been down there. So, and month over month, we've actually done much more than we did even last year. So, our revenue has continued to climb at least by double each year.
Wow, that's so great. What's something that you like to do in your spare time, man? Do you have any spare time? I know running a roofing business your size, there's probably not much time to relax or to think about Corey.
So my team's amazing to where I've put the right people in place, and when everything's rolling smoothly, I do have some time, right? And that's one thing that I think that I've been able to do really well is train the people in my organization to where I don't have to babysit everybody. And so, in my spare time, I like to take the boat out. I like to go fishing. I like to spend time with my wife, and so I do get to do that, a fair amount most of the time. The last month has been a little.
Well, I'm really going to be your friend, especially if I'm moving to Tampa.
We had some issues, but we're getting them smoothed out. We're getting them.
Yeah, no doubt.
I do get some time. I actually.
Sorry, we're cutting each other off. I think I cut you off by accident.
It's all right. No, I was just going to say, man, that I've actually been able to catch that elusive owner where you don't have in the business all the time, and you actually work on the business and handle some of that stuff and get some freedom from the obsessive phone calls and problems and issues. So I've been able to do that. So that's been really great.
I know that you use Roofer. Is there any other technology or anything that you have implemented this year or in the recent past in technology in your company?
No, every time Roofer launches something new, we change our process to start using that, because when you guys launch something, it's usually really well thought out and works really, really well. So I would say the thing that I've adopted recently has been the measurements to proposals. That's been huge for us. But we've had a CRM since day one. We use our CRM like it's intended, and company came in Roofer. Yeah.
The CRM is coming, but not a lot of people know that we are more than measurements. That's one of the things that I always like to make sure I touch on is that we are measurements. We're digital sales proposal. We have a beautiful instant estimator tool. And then the CRM is coming. But like Corey's saying, our team really does a good job of the thought process before rolling out a product. We want to be that tech stack that everybody in the roofing industry uses, right? How much would you say that technology has changed in the roofing industry over the past few years?
It's not even, it's like comparing a Volkswagen to a Ferrari, man. It's not even close. Yeah.
Right.
It's changed a lot.
I've been at Roofer now almost 7 months, and every day that I go to work and I see all of the things that are changing or the people working, I'm like, wow, this is just crazy to think that we have 105 employees at Roofer. Can you imagine how many other technology companies out there are working to try to better the roofing industry as well? It's kind of crazy to think about, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Pete McKendrick was he was my onboarding trainer for the CRM that we use when we started using it. So I've had a long-standing relationship with Pete and with Richie, and so a lot of times they'll kind of float some of the stuff that you guys are working on by me and say, what do you think about this? So I've been really fortunate to be a part of some of that development stuff, and you guys are getting it right. I'll tell you that.
That's one thing that I like most. One of the things I like most about working here at Roofer is we're not just a company that's shut off to the world, right? Like Richie's the first one to pick up the phone and call a roofer to ask their thoughts, like what you're talking about with you. And I don't know how that guy does as much work as he does. I promise you, with all the employees, and I know all of the stuff that we've got going on, and like I'm sure he's watching right now and he's on vacation, but that guy is something else, man. And that leads me to my next question. What's your culture like in your company? I mean, the culture we have at Roofer, I know that everybody that loves Roofer, they typically have a great culture.
Yeah, my perspective on culture, on the company culture, is first and foremost, your team has to know that you're going to get in the trenches with them if things go south, right?
Yep.
They have to trust you. That's the biggest thing. They have to trust the people that they work for, that you're gonna take care of them, and you're going to make sure they have what they need and they can count on you. And so that's number one. And my team knows that, whenever there's something going on, I always answer my phone. I always get in there and help them solve it. And when there's something going on that is negatively impacting either one or more people in the company, we figure it out, and we figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen. So the misconception, I think, that goes around, and I even suffered from this, was that if you have a great culture, you don't ever have any problems, which isn't the case.
No.
Right. Yeah. And I think my biggest takeaway from this last year is that I need to cross-train people a little better, so that if we do have an issue with somebody, or somebody's out or whatever, we don't really get derailed. And that was one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. And when you're a smaller company, it's not that big of a deal. But, we were just looking at the calendar for May. We have 173 jobs scheduled for May.
Man, I can't imagine.
So, if you have that many jobs scheduled and one of the pieces doesn't work exactly perfect, that causes a really big backlash. So
sure.
That's what we're working on right now, is to get people cross-trained and do a better job communicating across the board, so that somebody can pick up the ball if somebody else is out. And that was sort of the biggest.
Man, somebody in the comments just said, it's Corey Combs. John Brose was speaking the world of him last night. John Brose from MHI Roofing. And
I love John, man. Him and I have become great friends. Yeah.
He's one of my best friends in the world too. I've learned so much from John in the past year of knowing him and getting to hang out with MHI and Ugly Roof. But hanging out with giants like yourself and John both, are just they're godsends. Tell me what's next,
man. I want to say that John is one of the most humble dudes ever. He has helped me tremendously, and he'll tell you the exact opposite, because they just opened up a branch down in Florida, so he's really leaned on me a lot about some of the building code and some of the technical stuff, but he is reciprocated tenfold with his experience, and he's just a great dude, man. And so that is, I think, one of the biggest blessings of the way that the industry has changed. There's a lot of guys out there that are willing to just share and support one another. And it's not this, when I was coming up, the boss was just really, he was, they were guarded. They didn't want to tell you anything. They treated you like shit. And it's just, you don't really see that from guys these days. And so that's been a huge blessing. I've got some really good guys that we kind of network and bounce things off of. And it's been, John's a great dude, man.
There's 2.4 billion roofs in the world, and we're not all going to change them in our lifetime. We're going to try to put a dent in them, but everybody giving the way that they are here recently, or willing to spread that knowledge, is truly what our industry should have been about all along, versus the people who steal the yard signs, or they try to talk over a contractor that's in a neighborhood that they should have gotten. So, but
Mm-hmm.
no, I totally appreciate what you're saying about showing love to everybody and not just shutting down. What's next for your company, man?
Um, I'm just really working on, man, I'm not really sure how to answer this. Stearns and I
Yeah,
had this conversation because, in the spirit of being, um, helpful and, supportive with other people in the industry, I've also gotten a little salty about some of the people that continually screw over the homeowners and provide crappy service and
yeah,
really cloud the industry.
yeah.
So what's next for me? Revenue wise, I don't want to get any bigger. We don't need to get any bigger. I'm doing
Sure.
plenty. I want to drown those people out and elevate the people that are doing a really good job, and really increase the quality of my market.
Right.
That's what's next for me.
Yeah, yeah. Bringing the positivity and then also making sure that we get rid of the chucks in the truck, because they're the ones that are causing our industry to look bad, or the
Mm.
people who are on our social medias every day talking negatively about roofing in general. It gives
Yep.
us a black eye every single time, and I appreciate that about you. What's a bit of wisdom or some advice that you could give a new roofing company owner out there right now that may be sitting here watching and saying, man, I hope to be as big or as great as Corey Combs, South Shore Roofing one day?
My advice would be learn the industry, know what you do, know what you sell, know the industry, understand how to service your customer. That's part of what's gotten me a little salty is you get these guys that jump in they're bandwagon jumpers. They hear that there's a lot of money to be made in the industry. They don't understand it. They don't know it. They don't even know how to put on a roof, and they open up these roofing companies. And in the end, they end up, causing a lot of damage. And so if you're a good person and you want to get into the industry, my advice is go work for a good company for a little while and learn the business, learn how to do it right, and then
Yeah.
open your company. That's my advice.
No doubt, man. Well, we really appreciate it that you're going to be a part of our event on May the 17th in Fort Lauderdale. And just so you know, if you're just stepping onto the live, uh, Corey is going to be one of our main influencers at that event. Speaking with our panelist, John Brose will be there. And then we'll also have Jamie Yoshida from Aspen Contracting, River Tunnel from Shield Tech, and then Chris Scoville just signed up, or not signed up, just we just figured to add Scoville last week, so we're excited about that too. So, but thank you so much, Corey, for joining us today. If you guys want to find out more about this event, you can go to roofer.com/rise, RISE, and you can get your tickets. Those tickets are $25. We wanted to make sure that we knew the exact number, so we had to put a little price on there to make sure that you're going to show up. But we're looking forward to having maybe 50, 80 people. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more, but we're looking at a nice number right now, and hopefully that number continues to grow over the next 2 weeks. So, Corey, if you've got any questions for Corey, please reach out to him. Who's the best roofing company in Florida that provides leads daily as opposed to 100% cold door knocking? I think that's a friend of mine that just said that.
Right here.
No
I've
doubt.
I've I've spawned a bunch of lead babies, man. They get all their appointments set for them, and they just go and they sell the roof. That's what we do, man.
Nice. I can't see who it was that actually said that. It says Facebook user, but thank you for the comment, guys. Thank you so much again, Corey, for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks, man. But keep taking care of those Florida people like you do, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you,
Awesome,
TJ.
man. We'll see you soon. I'm going to end this
All right, buddy.
broadcast now. Bye, guys.